right. We should be live to YouTube. Thank you. Let me check. Make sure I get comments coming in. All right, plug-in is on. Popping out the chat. Hearing myself. Okay. I forgot to tell you, I got new internet.
What do you mean? You got a T1 or a T2 or whatever they call it, some big pipe coming to your house now, or what are you talking about?
I did get fiber. I've got a fiber cable running into the house, which means I should have a more stable connection, and the upload has gone up 20x. So our uploads to YouTube should be pristine.
Oh, nice, nice.
And
Okay.
hold on. Now I just need to make sure you can hear the audio. Can you still hear me? Just out of curiosity. Is that a no? You didn't answer me. All right, roll the intro.
I saw it, but I ain't hear it. But it don't matter because we live with Teague's Take right now on this Wednesday after Christmas, and we do appreciate everyone for spending a little bit of time with us on Teague's Take. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're listening to it on your podcast on one of your podcast channels. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Teague's Take for the show, and at Teague Football uh, for me personally, for at BamaJ13 for JT on Twitter. Um, we really do appreciate all the downloads that we get. It really means a lot for us. We're about 2.5 years strong, I believe, almost 2.5 years, but we're not quite there yet. But they're really good for us. It's because of you and the support that you guys give us just by watching and listening and downloading. So please share it. We have a good time with it. And we're going to keep doing it because we like to be able to interact with you. So if you have questions or something, make sure you reach out to us. Get in the chat and come visit us while we're live with the show. Okay, we got a few things that we need to cover. First, of course, the Bama's going to a bowl game. Kansas State. How do we really feel about that? Is it really worth playing? Do we think they're going to win or not? We want to discuss some of that. We need to talk about the Cowboys-Titans game a little bit. Derrick Henry probably not going to be playing tomorrow, or anybody on their team seems like going to be playing. So is that good for the Cowboys or not? We got to give an update on Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes and how their recruiting is going as well. But the way I want to start the show today is really about something else. Because a lot of times we hear when we talk about how players get into a zone when they're just going lights out and stuff like this. And what sometimes when you people say, "Well, he's in the zone," the Alabama fans might be thinking we're talking about the end zone, those nice boxes that you got in the south end zone or the north end zone. That's not the zone that I'm talking about. I'm talking about a mental state that athletes can get in. But I think it might be actually a little bit bigger than just athletes. Um, and actually, what that feels like. So I'm kind of curious to hear what JT might have to say about that if he's actually been in the zone. And I'd like to hear from the fans too, the viewers, to see if you've actually been in a zone. So what am I talking about with the zone? This is a time in a event. I want to say game for me because I was a football player, right? Where it just seemed like everything was going right. A lot of times people would say that that person is lucky. Things are bounced their way, those kind of things. And I'm going, no, that's part of being in the zone where things do bounce your way. There's this force that's just kind of happen where everything's happening good for you. And it is a very, very good feeling because that's when you see guys making superb catches, one hand catches, making these terrific runs, getting these interceptions, taking the ball from someone, whatever it is, where you have these unbelievable moments and unbelievable games collectively say, man, that guy was in as a player once you get it the first time. What made me think about it is Luka with the Mavericks and what he just did having the 60-20-10. And even at the end of the game, he just kind of throws his ball up off the backboard. It comes off. Somebody tips it again. He makes to his hand. He shoots it up. Bucket. Forced to an overtime. So, um, have you ever experienced anything like that? Whether it's at your job or not? So, JT, let's talk about this a little bit. Why don't you come on in, JT? Over there, he's sipping on something.
Water.
Yeah, a loud gulp over there. Yeah, sure, that's water.
I
Um,
got surgery in the morning. I can't have anything but water.
you can indulge in any beverage. Well, you kind
Nope.
of brought that up. Well, I guess you might know what. Well, I guess we kind of talked about your injury last week. So,
We
um,
just alluded to it. I didn't tell anybody that I tore my Achilles again. But there you go. So
so,
got this big old boot on again. That's why I'm down here in this room, which actually arguably has better lighting. So
so
go
now you're gonna
figure.
move on.
No, no, I'm not.
Okay. So this zone thing, you ever been in it? You felt like in the games? I say games, but I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be a real game, like a football game. Because I think you can get to a zone when you're doing anything, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
well, first I just asked you, you feel like you ever had that moment in time where just everything was just going your way and you were in the zone?
Um,
And is it real?
yeah. There were. I can think of two games in particular that I played in high school that coincidentally were both against the same team. Um, and one on offense and one on defense. So it was, my sophomore year, we were playing South Lake, but I was still playing running back, and I think I had like 4 rushing touchdowns that game. It really just felt like anytime I was getting the ball, I just knew I was going to go score. For whatever reason, I don't know if I was extra slippery that day. It didn't start that way. So it started off with me on kick return, fumbling the ball, and I recovered it. And then the first offensive play, they gave me the ball again, and I fumbled that one and recovered it. And then the second play, they gave me the ball again, and I fumbled that one and lost it. And I thought it was going to be a long day. I thought Coach Vaughn was going to bench me, put in the other dude. He told me to go back out there, and then in that second quarter, I think I broke one off for like 40 something. I broke like 4 tackles, and then from there it was just it. I could not be tackled. Then I don't know what it was. I wasn't like running over people. It just felt like people were just falling off of me. And then the next year, I wasn't playing running back anymore. I was playing receiver and safety, and I had 3 interceptions in that game. I still have to write my thank you note to David Pyland. He was the quarterback for most of that game until he threw his 3rd interception. Then they put some other dude in. But he ended up playing. He was a starting quarterback at Houston for a while. But I got my first scholarship offer off of that game, So that was another one where it just seemed like I just knew where the ball was going to be, and David Pylan was just throwing the ball at me. It wasn't. It didn't feel like he was throwing it to the receiver. It was just it. Anytime he threw the ball, I just like pop up. Here I am, and I didn't run any of those back. But I mean, it had gotten to the point where I jumped. I'm playing safety. We're a 2-deep team, and I intercepted a screen pass. It was I was that locked in. Just saw it. I'm driving on it, and ball ends up in my hand somehow. So those are two, and then there's another one we were playing Jesuit, and that's kind of a different zone. So maybe we should talk about that one day of just like being. I guess that was more like nervousness, where I couldn't hear anything. You know, crowd. I couldn't hear any of the crowd. I couldn't hear my teammate trying to tell me what coverage it was, standing 5 feet away from me. He's giving me signals. I'm looking at him. I don't know what's going on. And somehow that play ended up with me getting an interception that play too. So, one of those things where that one really was, I feel like, a little more lucky because it bounced off of our corner's helmet and kind of just like fell into my hands. But outside of football, there have been situations where I've been working on a problem at work, trying to code something, and you look up from the clock. You're done working at 5. You look at the clock and it's 1 a.m. and you're still typing away at the computer because it's just flowing out. It's like you got the whole solution and you're just going. And you're like, oh, probably should go to bed soon. So yeah, I mean, I think it can happen, outside of sports too, because time seems to melt away, and sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it until you get distracted or something else happens that pulls you back out, and then you can look back and be like, oh, this is what just happened is not normal. Something extraordinary has just occurred, whether it be statistical, like having 3 interceptions in a game. That was the first time somebody ever tweeted about me too. Back then, and I remember his tweet. I should have screenshotted it, but it was like, it was some like recruiting scout, and he was like, I don't know who this kid is, but he's got 3 picks off of 4-star quarterback David Pylan.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you said a lot of things in there, and I should have jotted them all down because I need for people to really, if you haven't felt it or really been in it, I don't know, it's almost like a weird little phenomenon, like you said. You don't even know you're in it sometimes until afterwards, like you just said, until someone says something or something, right? So I can think of games or opportunities like that. I would say I was in the zone in the national championship game. I didn't have a whole lot of bust. We talk about the play when I took the ball away from Lamar Thomas, but when people say, well, how'd you do it? I'm like, man, I just chased the guy down. I was just trying to strip the ball. Now, how it got into my hand and I turned around and all that kind of stuff, man, things were going well. I got an interception that game. Early in the game, you can see I had the very first tackle on the kickoff. I ran out of my shoe. I mean, I was just already in this place mentally where things weren't really, everything was clicking for me, right? But that's happened before. Another game would be the Dallas Cowboy game when I first came to the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if you really paid that much attention to it, JT, but when I was wearing number 30 and we were playing Detroit, right? And I actually caused a fumble, or I had 3 turnovers in 3 consecutive drives, right? I mean, it just kind of, punched the ball out. I chased the guy down. Looks like Alabama. Then I got an interception return for a touchdown. Then the next drive, first play, I go out and knock the ball out again. Everything was just clicking. And in every one of those situations, I never really thought about it like that until it was talked about later that night or that day when we were like, oh, it was that important. It was a record. It was something. Um, and so I've been that, and when you feel it, man, it just feels so good. And I liked it you how you talked about it with work and with John, or no, who just said it about when you're being at work, because you can be in that too, and you're getting this rhythm. So we always throw these other kind of words in there, man. I was just locked in. I was kind of something, but are you in this? Is this like a phenomenon? Something that just kind of I don't know how you get into it because I don't even know if JT that it's always like preparation because you always prep. I'm just kind of wondering if it's just something that comes over you. Is this a spiritual thing? Is it a nature thing? That puts you in this place where everything's just going right.
Yeah, well, I want to go back to John Davis's comment when he was saying, he's in a high school basketball game and he was 13 and 15, um, did 26 points, and he's just flicking his wrist and stuff's going in. I think, I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying that it's easier in basketball, but I think it's easier to recognize in basketball, right? Because it's you can have so many touches. You got and you see it even in the pros, right? Just heat checks. Somebody comes down and hits two quick threes, and then they take a bad and objectively bad shot, and it goes in, and you're just like, well, I guess that just means he's just shooting now, and you see where it goes from there. And then that's when you start getting the crowd starts getting involved and it's getting loud every time. Every time the ball leaves your hands, you can hear a gasp from yes, and then when it goes in, everybody goes ballistic. So, I don't know particularly what that feels like, but I know that's got to be. It's fun as a fan to watch stuff like that, even on TV. Hearing just when you've got just watching Alabama sometimes as often as they shoot threes and they go down to hit like 7 in a row, and you can just hear the crowd noise through the TV. That is
You
that gets
can.
me.
In basketball, you see it that way, but you know what you see it? Well, I like to see it because I'm a defensive guy, but you can see when a guy keeps stealing the ball, causing a turnover.
Mhm.
Even in basketball, they're just stripping him. You're like, man, how is his hand so quick and not being a foul? Then he's shooting the layup or whatever. I mean, you're right, man. It's kind of cool to see, and I think people forget it or don't really think about it because, again, we say lucky. So I'm not even sure if you can. And you tell me if you think this could hold true in the sense that I don't even know if there's a such thing as like beginner's luck because I think when you hear that, that's that beginner who may not have any skills actually in that zone. You're playing cornhole and the person's never ever played, but they keep hitting the doggone thing straight in the hole where you're winning. You've been practicing and playing all this time, and this person just kicks your butt, male,
You know,
female, who you're just like, man, how are they in this zone?
I
You know,
wonder if that has something to do with um, a lack of pressure, maybe. Specifically with cornhole, right? It's like, hey, I'm just gonna get out here and just throw this bag and see what happens. And you, when you've played a lot, sometimes you get in your own head trying to get that motion just right the way it always is, and you're like, oh, that didn't feel right when I threw it. And somebody who's never played before is just like, YOLO, throwing the bag, and it goes in, and you're something about that being relaxed. I think is key. So sometimes it's hard to. I think it's harder to do kind of in a sport because you have to. I think it's harder to relax. But at work, I think you can create an environment that can put you. Not always, if you could always put yourself in that kind of state of mind, then people would be way more productive. But I think you can. It's easier to build an environment that allows you to get there, whether it be putting on headphones and setting the lighting right and turning on some music, limiting distractions and things like that. I try to do that all the time, but I got to be on calls and people need me and whatnot. So it's a little hard to get in the groove sometimes, but uh, So John Davis says I can get in the zone at work too. It's sort of a combination of being relaxed and focused at the same time, and
Yes.
I think that's an eloquent way of putting it, especially with Luka. At the end of the game where he just gets the ball and just throws it up. It's not that didn't look like a shot where he was thinking about, oh, I got to get it off quickly and I got to have. It was just ball's here, got to shoot it. That's what I do. So.
And you can tell when people in that too is because you see their reaction after it happened. Typically, they're kind of emotional. Think about Luka when he made that last shot. He thought the game was over. I'm here. He's just ecstatic. He was dancing around like a little kid or whatever. He's like, oh my God, it went in. I think about Terrell Owens when he caught the big pass in the 49ers game. We started crying after the touchdown thing. You always see guys. Jordan on the last shot in the games, he's doing it. Just a lot of emotions come with pretty much those times, at least when you're playing sport. I'm trying to think, maybe not when you're sitting at your computer, you're not fist bumping it. But I just got
to, sometimes you do when, I don't know, it kind of depends on what kind of line of work you're in, but, at least in mine where you've been working on this thing that forever and everybody's having problems with it and you've asked for help and it finally clicks and then you just knock the whole thing out and you immediately just want to get on a Slack call and be like, look, I did it. It's done. Give me my virtual high five and don't touch it because if you touch it, it's probably going to break. And I don't know what just happened because I've been, so locked in that I kind of don't remember what happened over the last 3 hours, but I know it works, and it's just been going straight from mind to fingertips on the keyboard.
See, and this is where I want to go to the bad side of this, of how people can actually take you out of that zone, and how a coach can take you out of that zone quickly. And I first thought about it when it was the TCU Kansas State game. What's the quarterback's name? TCU? Max
Duggan.
He was in his zone, bro. Particularly that last drive. It didn't matter what was happening, sneaking out of there, running, making unbelievable stuff, right? And to me, as a coach, I would hope that you could see that. Now think about how many times we've coached, JT, and you see someone doing it, a running back in particular or something, and you just like you said, just give him the ball. I mean, he just whatever, toss it to him, hand it to him, throw it to him.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter what the play call is. Just run it anyway.
Just give him the ball. So TCU had this whole drive. He just did the whole thing by himself. They get down on the goal line. What do? They'll give him the opportunity to run the ball, to hand the ball to somebody else a couple times. It took him out of that element, out of that zone. They didn't let the forces just go. He was relaxed. He was going to win it. Mm-hmm. Think about every NFL game we watch when Mahomes and
Marshawn.
Just guys, just people. I was thinking of the quarterback from the Bills when they're going at it. It didn't matter what. All they needed to do was better throw the ball to somebody. But they were going to run it, or they were going to scramble. They were going to figure out how to make it work. And with this Max, they just took it away from him. I'm like, what an idiot, man. You just seen the guy take the ball out there quick, thinking about it. Just call a rollout. If you didn't want to call a quarterback sneak, give him an option.
Yeah, let him try to run somebody over or run around somebody because that's what he just did 4 times in a row, bailing you out the whole time.
He's tired right now. He's going to find a way. He was already dead tired, but he was figuring out how to make it work. So I think that's detrimental too when coaches can't see it or witness it and get you out of that. Like you said, their boss might get you out of that because you have some other kind of distraction that takes you out of your Go ahead, JT. I got to grab something real fast. Answer that for me. Do you think that you can take people out of the zone, or am I
Oh
just
yeah,
reading?
I mean, I think it's relatively easy to do that. I think that you can. I think with the Max Duggan thing, I don't know that I would consider it like taking him out of the zone versus just like not letting him ride the wave. But I mean, I get what you're saying. 'Cause, I mean, I think about it kind of like imagine, if they would have taken Luka out of the game. He's at 50 points or whatnot, and you're clawing back in, and they're like, all right, you're tired, so we're just gonna take you out, let you get a rest, and then that's when they say, oh well, he got cold, or
Yeah,
momentum shifts back to the other team because he's not in the game or whatever. And I think you can do that, more ways than just not letting the player have the ball or take him out of the game. I think you can also, say something to him, innocuous, right? Like, hey, that was a great play, but remember X, Y, and then now you got him thinking rather than just saying, great play and letting it go because everything's going right now. And yeah, maybe next time needs to be more aware, but when a player is in a zone like that, sometimes it's not negligence on like, oh well, remember you shouldn't normally bite on, you shouldn't normally jump that route. You should have stayed in coverage, but it worked out this time for you. Sometimes you just get that feeling of like, like I had no business jumping that screen,
yep.
but I did, and I got the ball, and nobody said anything to me. So, the next time, they're down in the end zone and he throws a pick in the end zone, I don't know that I was supposed to be over there under that fade route either. But I think it would have been that would have been very different had I come to the sideline and coach him and like, yeah, great job jumping the screen, but what the hell are you doing jumping the screen? And then you just play it. It takes you out of being relaxed and more thinking and being in your own head, I think. So I think it's very
That's
easy
true.
to.
That's true, and I think I've kind of had that some, but I've actually been able to stay in it sometimes because of coaching, because of the teammates that I've had out there. I tell the story all the time about when Dion and I would always be talking about um, where he wanted me to be and what I needed to do, and so we were both kind of getting each other into this zone or this area. And Coach would be telling me, "Hey, you can't do that. That's it's going to cost you," kind of thing. And really, I wasn't even paying him any attention. I was kind of going more so what Primetime was telling me, and he actually had my back on somewhere I could have got burnt. Um, but yeah, that's kind of cool. Did you just put that up there on the screen? I'm sorry, I just saw this little
What?
tool.
Oh,
Bottom left. I'm sorry.
no, I didn't put it up on the screen, but John O was asking if we were watching the Arkansas Kansas game. Kansas 25 unanswered points to force overtime. Arkansas thinks they won on a 2-point stop until targeting called. And I said, no, I saw this on TV and I thought it was basketball. Because I did. YouTube
So who
popped up and
won?
was like,
Arkansas or Kansas?
I don't know. I guess I got to pull up ESPN and see what's going on. Because I legitimately thought this was a basketball game. I forgot bowl games. Bowl games were going on.
Yeah, I saw North Carolina. I forgot.
Oh, I guess it's still going. Arkansas
I
just
don't
called a
know.
timeout.
I don't know.
So
I
they're
put a
going
check
for
mark.
2. It's in the second overtime. They're going for 2 to tie the game. Gonna make me put on YouTube TV on the side. Too bad I can't show y'all. I want to get demonetized. Oh, and Alabama is playing basketball right now.
Oh, so we can get to that too. So, well, while you're checking on that, we'll get to these games here in a second. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting when you see, because you can witness it and you can see it, and I'd love to hear about people's stories about that. How did it actually feel? And do you crave it when you? Because you've been on the other side. I don't know if you've been on the other side. I've been on the other side too, where
Well, I remember, like I said, I was on the other side at the beginning of that game.
yeah,
That I fumbled the ball 3 times and on 3 consecutive touches to start the game. So
well, but that
yeah,
goes in this. Think about what you have to do mentally to be able to get back. Like you said, not crumble. Not that you had to remain relaxed. You had to remain confident. Someone had to tell you, um, give you some form of confidence. And maybe that was just, hey, just keep giving the ball and then working out of it. I guess like basketball, let him keep shooting until he finds the rhythm. Um, but anyway, I wonder if there's any kind of studies on that when they can actually tell how guys get into that. I bet that would be kind of interesting to have some type of monitor or something to see where your mind was or where your heart is um, during those times or these games like this. You know, because you're right. Every time something happens, it's always like, is that the best? Someone's tweeting about it. Someone's something. It's the best game ever. Is this? Who is this guy? Uh, so anyway, um, pretty cool. Pretty interesting to talk about. Appreciate you sharing your stories about that. 'Cause I'm sure you got a lot of those that you hadn't even thought about. To
yeah. I mean,
get in the rhythm with chess, and you just see every move, and you just know,
no, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
no
but
matter
I
what.
have I have way more where I'm like just losing. I'm way more on the opposite side where it's like, dude, I can't do anything right out here.
Mm-hmm. So,
But no, yeah, I've had a few. I've played. I remember sitting on the couch upstairs over here and had the board while I was physically playing the pieces. I was physically moving pieces, but I was playing online. And there were 2 or 3 games in a row where I felt like, oh, this is the greatest game I've ever played. And then then you never want to play again because you're like, it's never going to get better than this. And that's
kind
probably
of
true.
kind of like golf. That's why people struggle with golf because you get in that zone and you have that great day out there, and then the next time is just all over the place.
Looks like Arkansas or Kansas converted the 2 point conversion. They're going into the third overtime, which means it will be 2 point conversions from here out.
And don't forget that game. We had some guys in the zone. I guess you can be in the zone as a play caller too, right? You can be
Yeah.
just calling stuff and got to execute it. Okay, so we stopped at last time. So we stopped at the Toledo game. So
Yeah, I gotta pull up my picks.
it was which bowl game was that? Wednesday, December 21st. The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, where we need to start at Western Kentucky versus South Alabama.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I picked South Alabama on that one,
yeah, and I took
and
Western Kentucky. So did good there,
there
and then we had Baylor. I didn't think Baylor would lose.
I didn't either. Well, I mean, I don't think Baylor is that good this year, but I didn't think Air Force was really 10-3. John is 9-14. Um, According to him, I am 14-9, just exactly the opposite of you.
So which one of them is? Wait a minute, I'm counting 22. Or how many games are? Let me get through. That was six because
Uh,
the first was 6-6. There's only 12 games the first half, right? Since the last
well,
time we talked.
from yeah. So when was what was the last game you had before South Alabama? We went through
Toledo.
Liberty. Yeah, Toledo won that game, and the most recent winner is Duke.
Over UCF. All
Yes.
right, so I won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that should be 12. And 10 then? Is that what we're saying? 12 and
Now you're
2.
missing one. You should have 23 games.
What am I missing? Okay, so let's
Well,
go
let's
through it.
let's let's just go through it. So you picked Western Kentucky over South Alabama.
Yep. Took Baylor.
Uh, you took Baylor. I also took Baylor. And they lost. I picked Houston over UL,
Yep, me too.
and Houston almost lost that game. I took Wake Forest over Missouri.
Yep, me too.
I took San Diego State, and Middle Tennessee won.
Yep, I did too. I took San Diego State.
I took New Mexico State over Bowling Green.
I didn't. I took
I picked Georgia Southern over Buffalo. Seemed like a close game.
Yeah, I took Buffalo.
And I took Memphis over Utah State.
I took Memphis.
I took Coastal Carolina over Eastern Carolina. I should have known better.
Yeah. Isn't that where you coaching?
Oh, Arkansas just won, apparently.
I lost to Coastal Carolina. I took Coastal Carolina too. Okay, we'll get to.
Yeah, I shouldn't. Look, so I have rules for picking bowl games. If all the rules are always the same, but I did add a rule this year. If they played in the MAC, I wasn't picking them.
Right.
If the head coach is changing, if the head coach is leaving, pick the other team. And I should have done that with this one. I don't know why I didn't. And if the quarterback's not playing, pick the other team.
All right.
Wisconsin, I picked over Oklahoma State.
Me too.
And I picked Duke over UCF.
I didn't. I took Caden Kettler and UCF. Balls.
And I took Arkansas over Kansas. So that makes me 15-9. Now that Arkansas has won the game.
I took Arkansas too, so I don't understand how I'm going off. We said everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 and 10.
You still won off. You still won off somewhere.
Or maybe it's 11. 1, 2, 3. Oh, my losses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Huh. I don't know what game I'm missing there.
How many games do you have just in general, without counting wins and losses?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 24 with Arkansas. Okay, so maybe Arkansas. 24 with Arkansas now.
There you go. Oregon and UNC and Ole Miss and Texas Tech are playing right now. So you'll have two more. Oregon is currently losing at halftime.
13.
D357 says they are 13-11.
Yeah, I'm 13-11.
What's up? Well,
Okay.
so I mean, right now I'm looking pretty good at 15-9. That's I'm in the 93rd percentile online.
Yeah, that's good. What does John say he is?
John is 10-14, and we have D at 13-11.
Okay.
I told you, John be picking with his heart. He don't pick with his head.
Yep. Well, let me give you the update on what he said about Colorado. All right. Get to his note. All right, he had already kind of told us about the McLean person and the number one cornerback recruit that didn't sign.
Yeah, he ended up going to Miami, right?
I don't know. He put lots of talk of Sanders on him. Did he? He said Miami and Bama are still in play. but maybe you can
Hey,
move
so John, I don't know if you remember, or if you were listening to the show at the time. Um, After the news with Bryce Young and Will Anderson, we have both switched our picks to Alabama.
to Bama. Yeah, we all did. Oh, you said me and you, or you talking to him?
I was talking to him.
Okay.
I can't remember if we said that on camera or not, but I did. I did officially switch my pick there. I also switched my USC pick. I did not pick USC, but I think Caleb Williams is playing. So
Who they here? I don't have them on here. What?
USC is playing much later.
Who are they playing? USC and who?
John, yes, you were on board before they announced. The USC is playing Tulane.
Oh, I picked Tulane.
Well, I did too, and then I thought that Caleb Williams was playing, so I flipped my pick.
He is playing, or he isn't? We don't know.
I think he is.
If he is, I'm going to switch. I'm switching. Okay, but so let's talk about this Bama game real quick. And I know
Okay.
we're flipping our deal, but having these two guys, is it enough? Just because Bryce or Will Anderson, you add the one little piece, but do you still got enough horses on offense to support Bryce?
I mean, I think so. It should be enough. Look, no, I don't want to throw shade at TCU, but like, our offense is better than TCU's. It just is.
I think who we're gonna have actually playing on that is Jermaine Burton, and who are the other receivers that they got?
Ja'Cory Brooks. So like your top three guys are still there. So you'll have Isaiah Bond. So you'll have Jermaine Burton. You'll have Ja'Cory Brooks. You'll have Isaiah Bond. You'll have Prentice, and the other freshman that is very strong. Whoever I can't remember his name now. Kendrick Law.
Okay.
And Jahmyr Gibbs is playing. Jahmyr Gibbs kind of threw some shade at Georgia Tech a little bit. He threw a little jab in the media when they asked him if he considered not playing, and he said, "I was definitely going to play. I've never played in a bowl game before."
I missed that one.
So he said he wanted to know what it was like. So I don't know that Alabama has any opt-outs at all, really.
Kansas State gonna be full strength with all their people. Make it outside of one way or the other.
If they shouldn't have anybody opt out. I do know that they had some guys go down in that championship game. They were playing with two true freshman corners. I don't know what the starting corners. I don't know what their injuries were. I don't know if they were serious enough to where they couldn't play. I don't know what Adrian Martinez's status is. Adrian Martinez was the starting quarterback. Frankly, after I watched the Big 12 championship game, I think the backup is better.
Okay.
John O says Jalen Moody has not practiced, arm is in a sling, and Ty Lawson was very limited past 2 days.
Yeah. Well, all right. And I didn't finish on his. I know I didn't finish his report. So since we started talking about Batman, let me finish the report on the other stuff. He said Deion and them picked up 2 more commitments from 4-star D linemen from Flawless of Georgia. They're currently ranked number 17 in the class of 2024. That's pretty big.
Oh, in 2024.
Yes.
Okay.
Still, not too bad for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to tell um, that far out because like they've got 3 commits and 2 of them are 3 stars, so it's like, I, we can, the you can get pretty high on the board by just having 5 commits. Like Iowa has the 7th ranked recruiting class right now in 2024. Like, all right,
3 stars really even mean anything?
three stars.
3 stars. Are you like a average college? When do you become a good? How many stars you gotta have to be considered to be like a good? Or when do
Yeah,
you start?
so 3 star. They're supposed to be projections of like what they think that your ceiling is in college. So 3 star is a like a solid contributor. You should start when you're an upperclassman. Is basically what they're saying. 4 star, they're saying you might not start as a freshman. You might have to redshirt, but you should. We expect you. 4 star is basically saying you have all American talent, all conference talent, and 5 star, or I shouldn't say all American because 5 star they're saying you have all American talent. You, depending on where you go, you may start as a freshman and be a contributor, that kind of thing. And so your 3 star is really kind of those are the guys that you expect to be there for 5 years, and their 5th year, they're very, very good, balling out.
Or those are the guys you expect to transfer after the second year out on the field because the new 5 star came in behind them.
Right? Yeah. They brought somebody else in, and they were like, "Oh, okay. Well, well, they're also probably the guy that coach comes in and says, "Hey, so we got this dude transferring in, and you can stay here if you want to, but we're just not going to pay for you no more, or you can transfer somewhere else and get somebody else to pay for you."
Mm-hmm. That sucks. But okay, so there we are. It's still going to be interesting to see what happens in February on the signing day with primetime.
Hey, but they are for their overall class of 2023. They are in the top 25. They are 23rd with 32 commits right now.
Yeah, he's going to have like 80 commits by the time he run everybody out of there. I heard a lot of people are leaving in droves. Basically, going to have a whole new squad next year.
Well,
I saw what they said. I'm sorry. I saw that somewhere that they were like picking Shedeur Sanders to be like an early Heisman candidate. I was like, wait a minute. Has he done enough to warrant that type of stuff already?
well, to me, no, but
Okay. Anyway, so it's just kind of fun to watch and track. We'll see what's happening. But going back to Bama and those guys, looks like we should be okay. I guess I feel a little bit better after talking to you now about it because I had some concerns. I was just wondering how are we going to be playing this game? Are we really going to be playing to win it? You're going to be hungry like every other game because Kansas State got to come in with a different attitude, right?
oh yeah, they're gonna. This is a game they want to win, for sure.
Yeah, they need to say we beat Bama. We beat the SEC team or whoever. Particularly Bama. What did he say?
He said Javier Arenas, Josh Jacobs, Eddie Jackson, Mac Jones, and Kareem Jackson were all 3 stars.
So we'll show you. Do we recruit anybody less than 3 stars?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they're kickers, but they usually just don't give out stars to kickers.
Kicker and the punter? The long snapper? about
I
it.
am. Yeah, I mean, so let me see. I'm trying to less than a 3-star. There's nobody in this class right now that is less than a 3-star. Even the kicker, Connor Talty, is a 3-star.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I'm just gonna click on a random year. Let's see, 2014, just for no, no. But um, we talked to Patrick Kahn. Remember? So we were talking about that the Bama bump being real. So it might have been a 2-star until Alabama came along and said, "Hey, why don't you come over here? Got him an extra
yeah,
star."
that's true. That's true. We need to get him back on. It's high recruiting time. It's about time to get someone in here, or maybe we do it right after the show again. Maybe we can get Tom Lemming on Patrick or somebody else again just to recap this. That'd be good. That'd be good. Okay. Well, just one more topic I need to hit about this. It just seems so weird. I'm messed up because since I'm, in the education world, being at home, it didn't feel like it's Thursday tomorrow. Every day seems like Sunday or whatever. So I'm waiting for the football. It just seems weird to me saying that the Cowboys are getting ready to play tomorrow. You know, but they are, and they're taking on the Titans. So the only Alabama piece referred to that as it looks like Derrick Henry is not going to play. A little banged up and hurt, but apparently this game means absolutely nothing to the Titans as far as getting into the playoffs. They got to beat the Jaguars the next game, so they're hurt, but they're gonna rest their guys.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same with the Cowboys, right? They're already in.
Yes, but there's a super long shot of the Cowboys actually getting into a bye to the bye.
Yeah. Okay.
If the Cowboys win out and the Eagles lose too, Cowboys have the 1 seed.
Yeah. So who do the Cowboys have left?
Titans and the Commanders.
Well, and you say so. Then you're saying that the Eagles have to lose both of their games.
Yes, and the Eagle. So I hadn't looked at reports, but if Jalen Hurts doesn't play this week again against the Texans, are they playing the Texans?
They're playing the Saints.
Saints. That's right. The Saints. They could run into a little buzzsaw. No, I don't think they're going to lose 2 games.
Well, I mean, Gardner Minshew looked good enough to me.
Still playing against our secondary that needs to be shored up a little bit. So that's the only thing with the Cowboys. I think we got to fix our. And they did a really good job. They put Bland out at corner a little bit. They brought the other Alexander kid up to be nickel, and then they had a bunch of different packages where Bland was at nickel, and then Sean Wright was at corner. So they're trying to figure it out, trying to get that secondary shored up. I think the one of the pieces that no one's really talking about as much as Van Der Esch is hurt. And that's huge because, like I said, watching that film and watching Damone Clark, he's a good football player, but he's got some work he got to do. Putting him at linebacker next to Bars, we're not as nearly as good as we need to be in the middle of defense. So not having Derrick Henry would be great. And they don't have Tannehill either. It looks like Malik Willis is probably going to play too. So we should feast. Hopefully it'll be a fast game.
Small tangent. Did you see that the Raiders are basically saying Derek Carr's just not playing anymore, and then he's probably not going to be a Raider?
What? Like they've benching him, or they trade him?
They've benched him. They put him so far on the bench that I'm not even sure that he's suiting up. Like, I think they've legitimately said that Jared Stidham's going to start, and then the third string is now the backup, and they're just not going to play him.
So, do you think this is Derek Carr's fault, or do you think this is coaching fault? Honestly, I mean, you got some weapons though. You got Devontae, Waller, Josh Jacobs,
Yeah, I'm going to say a little column B, a little column A, a little column B. I mean, Derek Carr has kind of been on that bubble, it seems like, for a long time. Like,
Yep.
he's teetering on the edge of uh, winning something big or important,
Right.
and they never do. But it also doesn't help that that division that they were in, where Peyton Manning just came through in Buffalo. Now you got Mahomes. Are the Chargers in that division too? So then you got Justin Herbert. So now you're looking around like, okay, well, like what's all this?
Yeah. I just had just watch them and just watch it from afar. I don't know how you can't get the ball to Devontae Adams.
Yeah, well,
You got
I
Hadley.
wonder. I wonder how that is playing out, like just in Vegas anyway. Of Devontae Adams, like, all right, I'm leaving Green Bay to go play with my homeboy, and then the organization's like, yeah, we'll trade you because he needs some help, so we're gonna bring you in because maybe you can give him a spark. And then at the end of the season, they're like, you know what? Never mind. He just sucks. So he's not playing anymore. I know you came here to play with him, but how about you play with this other guy instead that you've probably never heard of?
Yeah, well, he can't go nowhere. He got broke off. He got paid. So I guess we can influence someone, tell him to make a trade in the off season or go get another quarterback, in the draft or something.
John O says last and only two-star recruit Saban has signed was tight end Chris Underwood in 2007.
Yeah, was that his first year, second year?
Yeah, that was his first year.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so, did you happen to see any of the Colts games since you're talking about bad quarterback play? Did you see Nick Foles?
No,
Trash.
I did
I have
not see
no
Nick Foles.
clue what happened to Nick Foles. Yeah, maybe it was
He
coach, something else, but it was awful. It was trash.
where's he at now?
The Colts. So
Oh,
they
right,
had,
because Matt Ryan ain't.
then they
Dude,
had
like I don't understand. How does that even happen? Like, how do you go from I just show up in the playoffs and I win Super Bowls to because even before, like, he wasn't bad. Then he gets to be a backup for the Eagles, and then he just rattles off 5 wins or whatever, and wins the Super Bowl, and then gets paid in Chicago, and it's just awful, 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 awful.
I think these coaches up there, the Colts, will probably shut it down. I know it's their job and all this stuff, but the way they look now, I mean, come on, man. JT is in Jonathan Taylor, wasn't doing anything early. I mean, it's just bad. Pittman can't get the ball. Nobody's getting the ball. Oh, that's a good one to talk about. Tua in a second, in the last couple minutes. But anyway, I don't know, what's going on there. It's going to be interesting. Only one coach has been fired. I don't know what the Colts are going to try to do. They're going to have to try to hire somebody. I really thought the Raiders might get fired too, but
Well, he just got there.
So did the guy from Denver. Hackett just got there.
No, I thought Hackett's been there for 2 years. Like, this dude, like, literally just got here.
No, Hackett. This is Hackett's first year.
No way.
Look it up. This is Hackett's first year.
Yeah, someone in the comments gonna have to.
Yeah, he just got there. They were trying to stack him with Russell Wilson.
Dang, he did just get there.
Yeah, so what?
Oh man, that's crazy.
Well, that's where that little memo come from. Did we talk about that last week when the NFL
Uh,
put the memo out about? Did you not see that the memo from the NFL to the owners of the NFL team saying that there's really being more money spent on coaches who aren't even in organizations anymore than like that are that are
Because
getting
everybody's
fired.
still paying buyouts.
Yeah, they're all paying them and saying, "Hey, be conscious that you keep firing these dudes and you're spending millions upon millions of people that are just sitting at the house fishing now. Go to TV or whatever they're doing. I mean, think about it. Good lord. So much for that one. They're like, we got 1 year and that's it. You're out.
Not even
Okay.
1 year. You got 15 games.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's a quarterback problem, not the coach's problem. But I don't know. Talking about Russell Wilson and his fall
Mm-hmm.
off, historical as well. But he don't look good. Okay. So last thing before we go, this piece about Tua, man. I missed it when it first came out until I got a call from someone in the media who wanted me to talk about the concussions with Tua and what does that look like. And first, I just need to say, man, it is sad and it's disheartening to you know see him start having symptoms post game. You don't really know what had happened, but when potentially you had a pretty significant blow to your head a few weeks ago, however many weeks ago, and he's taken some shots since then. He's tried to truck some people and he's hit the ground kind of hard. So um, the reoccurring ones, from everything I've been told and been taught on, are the most dangerous ones. Um, so hopefully he's able to rest and recover and do that. The team helps him by doing the right thing, maybe holding him out. He's got to be out for some weeks if he's not done for the whole year. Um, so JT, the comments and the question has really been about, well, whose fault is it, that he has this second concussion series thing? Is it the team's fault? Is it the NFL's fault? And I'm kind of, I guess I'm going. It's probably not the take everybody wants to put in. So I'm riding both sides of the fence a little bit, right? I'm going. Some of this might be player fault because now you're protected. You really can not go back in the game if you don't really need to or want to, right? Um, but we're all anxious as players to try to get back. We can overcome everything. You don't want to lose your position. Blah blah blah. I don't know that I necessarily blame the team because if they followed all of the rules and all the protocols, they're using independent doctors. Okay, so maybe this is an NFL-wide thing that we still need to look at. How do you protect players from themselves, and how do you really diagnose, concussions and reoccurring concussions to where you can't see it. You know what I mean? Unless you're
Mm-hmm.
wobbling and you guys sleep, you don't know. The thing about it, Tua didn't go report that, hey man, I got headaches. Just went out there and played. It could be. Some guys will do that. Keep trying to take Advil or whatever. So I guess my take is, I think we all got to be involved with that. There were plenty of times where I played in the game where I knew I wasn't feeling well, getting a little ammonia. You ever had one of them little ammonia tablets or whatever put up to your nose, wake yourself up like a
Yeah, I did
like
that
a
in. I actually did it in math class. I never did it for a game.
okay, well, same thing. I guess wake you up, whatever. But I've done, you got to get your stuff out. And I actually noticed that on the field. I think they mean to show it on TV, but it's still happening because I think it was supposed to be illegal for them to give ammonia tablets to the players before the game. They would just put them in your hand and you kind of shake them like this
Mm-hmm.
in front of you, and trash them. I saw a kid, a player in the National Football League. It was a cup. I don't know if they poured something into it, but he was sniffing the cup the same way that you did the stuff. And I was like, hey man, I'm sure that's probably some kind of ammonia or something um, to amp him up. But anyway, um, I'll give you the last word on that. Concussions. Whose fault do you think is really to blame in something like this with Tua, where he's got this recovery stuff? Is it on the team? Is it on the National Football League, or us as athletes?
Um, I'm leaning more towards the team and probably the NFL, and here's why: is because what's the head coach's name?
Daniels?
Uh,
Oh
yeah,
no,
McDaniel. The reason McDaniel said, or the reason Mike McDaniel even made the comment that put Tua into concussion protocol is because he said he was watching film of the game the next day and thought something was off with Tua after watching the film. And I'm like, yo, so what happened to these like professional concussion spotters that they're supposed to have? Like how are they not? If you're telling me that you just turned on the all 22 and was like, something's not right with that guy. Like, so then what are we doing during the game? We got the concussion squad just being fans now. They just watching the game instead of doing what they're supposed to be doing, or and then so it turns from I'm watching film, something's wrong with him. I told somebody, and then they go check him, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he has symptoms."
Well, hold on. Let me pause right there. When you say something's not right with him, is that in the sense of he's making bad decisions, right? That a medical doctor might not say, "Why is he throwing the ball over there? That's uncharacteristic." Or was it like, what could coach see to say, "Hey, something's not right with him," that would make
I
you think he's got a brain
I'm not
something?
sure. The quote from the article says Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel was watching film the morning after the Dolphins lost to the Packers, and he began to feel something was off about Tua. And then he has a quote that says, which provoked some direct questioning with a high degree of concern, McDaniel recalled Wednesday. And then it says, Tua had in fact sustained a concussion during that game, doctors later concluded, and Tua revealed to doctors that he had symptoms that has put him into the protocols for a second time this season. So, I don't know.
Okay.
It went from McDaniel said something's wrong, and they started questioning him. So then he gets checked out, or then Tua the next day says something's not right. Seems like I got this, that, and this other thing wrong with me, and the doctor's like, "Oh, you got a concussion."
Okay. So then, now what's your gut feeling? Is he done? Or should he be done? Not your gut feeling. So what do you say, Jim? Should it be done for the rest of the year? We'll see next year.
Well, probably. I mean, 2 concussions in 3 months seems a little extreme. Um, I don't know enough about these things to say whether or not he should be done or not. It seems like probably he should be,
Okay.
but I don't know. I'll leave that to the. I would prefer to leave it to medical professionals that don't work with the Dolphins.
Oh yeah. Oh, that have to be. Yeah, I mean, he'll have to go to some neuro something or another. Okay, so this is my last piece. Then we'll check it out. Check out. I'm thinking because of the way these concussions are going, and what the NFL's doing the right thing. Okay, at least trying to protect guys from that. So let me say that. But this is how I think the game is going to change. It's going to have to. NFL, you're going to have to start having two number one quarterbacks, particularly with the way people are starting to run, and do things, and hitting. It's too detrimental that when you lose a starting quarterback, the drop off to the next guy typically is pretty significant. And I don't think for the success of a team like the National Football League, it's going to have to look more like running backs. You're going to have two-headed monster. Maybe one of them's a runner, still can pass, and maybe the other one is.
So you're saying you need a Drew Brees and a Taysom Hill.
Yep, yep. That's what I'm saying. And it can eliminate some of the stuff because even on the other side, you have what's his name, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson,
Lamar.
who's a more runner, which puts you in a whole other set of danger. You know, knees, not just the head and everything else, but you need that person for like this when he gets hurt. You just can't go to.
Well, I mean, now you look at Tua, and then you look at like Andrew Luck, who's just like, nah, I don't want no part of this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get out while I can.
Yes. Well, yeah. I think you're always going to have those, right? Those people that don't want to do that. That's okay. But you got the person on the other side who's just dreaming that, hey, I'm going to be a lead. I want to be one of the 32 in the league to be a quarterback, um, or whatever other position you're still going to play. I don't think we ever have a shortage of quarterbacks. It's just a matter of how you got to recruit and what do you have on your roster. How much money do you spend? Think about essentially what happened with the 49ers originally. Hey, we're keeping Garoppolo. We're paying him a bunch of money. And it's the right move because what's his name got hurt? What's his name?
Well, at the same time, I kind of just wonder, there. It seems like, I don't know, maybe it's recency bias with Tua. So I guess maybe there is a little bit on the player. Like, what was the last time you seen like Aaron Rodgers get a concussion, or Drew
Right.
Brees, or Tom Brady? It's like they don't get hit.
Right.
They get the ball is out so quickly that you don't even have like it's. Well, I mean, I guess recently Aaron Rodgers has been getting hit, but at the same time, it's like, do you see the way Aaron Rodgers falls? Like he either just lays down, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna take the sack and just fall over, or he's running around and he gets the ball out before contact is made. There's how often do you see Aaron Rodgers like actually stand in the pocket and like take a shot and
No,
throw
you
the
don't
ball?
see him get blowed out. You don't see him get blowed out like Joe Burrow and some of these other guys who just get blasted sometimes. I
Yeah,
don't
so I
know.
mean, it kind of just seems like that's I don't know. It seems that I don't want to say there's a wrong way to play the game, but there is a way to protect yourself, and it seems like whether that is your offensive coordinator helping you out in play calling, or acquiring better line up in front, there's still some things that you can do as a quarterback. Much like Saban said with Bryce when he was talking about his shoulder, and he was like that. The injury was completely unnecessary. You waited literally until the last second to throw the ball while you were getting that's why you got hurt. If you had just got rid of the ball earlier, like you were supposed to, whether it be throw it out of bounds or whatever, you avoid the injury.
That's true. That's true. I think it's a little bit more complex than that, just because you got guys that are not the Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady's. You gotta. Now he does himself well. Patrick Mahomes scrambling around, running around, doing circles, all this kind of stuff. He doesn't really get hit. He still knows how to slide, get out of the ball. He's doing what you're saying. But guys like Josh Allen, though, he's reckless.
Yeah, but Josh Allen is also like Josh Allen is a big dude.
Yeah.
Tua is
Yeah,
not a big dude. I mean,
big size ain't got nothing to do with whether or not you can get a concussion, though.
yeah, that's true. But Tua is also quite, unfortunately, he is also quite injury prone, and I think he has to like realize that. I mean, he had two pretty bad injuries at at Alabama with his ankle and his hip.
How do you think linemen don't have concussions more often? There's a lot of banging going on in there. And you're saying they got to
Yeah,
be up to run, but constant blow to the head.
I would imagine that they probably do have high rates of concussion. I bet they do.
They just don't wobble.
Yeah.
Or what? Yeah. All right.
They're all probably relatively minor. Tua's concussions are him hitting his head on the ground and not being able to get up, and a lineman's concussion is probably minor with very few symptoms. There are different grades of concussions.
There is, but not by rule. Concussion is a concussion now. No more grades. You can't go to the doctor and say you got a mild concussion. You're either concussed or you aren't.
Right. It's just the really bad concussions are the ones that are easy to spot, and the other ones are in linemen.
Yep. Well, all right, man. Well, it's been good. It's been a good hour 15 minutes. I think it's been good. I really enjoyed talking about the getting in the zone. You gotta find more stories like that. I think that'd be kind of cool just to get people's talk on that. Don't forget to go ahead and give us some likes, subscribe to the YouTube page. Me and JT are working on some things on the side. Maybe we can break out with something new here pretty soon. I got to practice on a few little things, and then we'll talk some more football. This Saturday, 31st game. JT's probably going to be medicined up, so I don't know if he's actually going to be on the stream with me or not. For this,
I guess that'll be TBD.
Yeah, so just stay tuned to that or whatnot, and I'll work with John over to figure out if I'm going to be on location to visit some of the Bama fans out of McKinney. But man, we always appreciate it. We appreciate everything you guys do for Teague's Take. I'm going to get in and go take care of my wife now. She's under the weather a little bit. That's why I'm sitting at home. But I do plan on being back at the new year, back at the Lantern Street Grill and pub and tap house. I don't want to call it a pub house, but it's a tap house. They got to give me some cheese sticks and some hot wings. So we do appreciate it, my brother. Till then, we're going to say we won't see you before. Well, maybe we will see you before New Year's. But if we don't see you before New Year's, Happy New Year's to you. We'll see you next week.